Hello everyone and welcome to my first video slash ramble. And today what I wanted to talk about was my love-hate relationship with Thomas the Tank Engine. On one hand, Thomas has been a part of my childhood. It has been a staple of model railways. It's been a staple of train lovers in general, and is something that is very, very close to my heart, as it is for most people, especially children who grew up in the late 1990s and early 2000s, as well as those who have grown up with the Railway series since the 1930s. Now, the reason why I have a love-hate relationship with Thomas the Tank Engine is that it encompasses everything I love about trains, but everything I hate about the train lover stereotype. And by this, I mean I love the stories, I love the aesthetic, I love the models, and I love the fandom of Thomas the Tank Engine. But the thing I despise the most is the image that it portrays to the outside world. And I know that there are many, many people who feel the same way, as I've injected myself into the Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends fandom, and seen many videos by the likes of Troublesome Junction, Unlucky Tug, Train Boy, and many, many others that I have discovered over the last year or so of my research into the Thomas the Tank Engine fandom. And everyone seems to share a very, very similar, point of view, that they love everything about Thomas, but they hate the stereotypes and they hate the preconception that Thomas is merely a baby show, that trains are for babies, or trains are for people who are neuroatypical, etc. And I detest that stereotype because it's just not true, for one, and also it belittles what Thomas the Tank Engine is. It belittles what someone's love for railways is, and a lot of the time, steam railways get boiled down to something that babies should enjoy, or only babies should like, or even something that only an old man should enjoy as well. So you have the dichotomy there of what it's like to be a fan of steam railways. Now, my love for Thomas the Tank Engine, as with most people, has stemmed from my childhood, when I was growing up, from the ages of when I can remember, 1 or 2, onwards. I've always loved Thomas the Tank Engine. I've always loved models, model trains especially, but also things like Thunderbird, Stingray, Captain Scarlet. These things tend to come hand in hand for people who enjoy live action models in general, and science fiction. So that's where my love for it came from, and then of course that stemmed into a love of railways in general. And I kind of abandoned my love of Thomas the Tank Engine all the way up until this year. Whenever someone said, "Oh, you like trains, and does that mean Thomas the Tank Engine?" I would protest and say, "No, that does not mean Thomas the Tank Engine," because I was afraid of the stereotype that I mentioned before. Now I am not so afraid to embrace Thomas the Tank Engine in general, partly thanks to the YouTubers that I have mentioned earlier, and becoming part of the fandom in more of a serious basis. And through this fandom, I have learnt the nuance of Thomas the Tank Engine, especially because I hadn't looked that in depth at these episodes before. I had not looked in depth at the cinematography either. I had not watched Thomas the Tank Engine since I was probably about 10 years old. And for that, I do have to thank those YouTubers, as I said, Troublesome Drunction, Train Boy, Terrier55, Stepney, Unlucky Tug, Thomas 1, Edward 2, Henry 3, I believe the name is, and there are many, many more, Mr. Ryan, that I've stumbled across over the last year or so in lockdown when I've rediscovered my love for Thomas the Tank Engine. Now, my hatred again comes back in a very similar way to a lot of these YouTubers have mentioned, because of the current state of Thomas the Tank Engine becoming what we all have feared it would become. It's become the very stereotype that Thomas fans have tried to distance themselves from. And that's such a crying shame, especially for someone who is trying to get back into the fandom and has just kind of rediscovered their love for Thomas, because now explaining that the reason why you've got back into Thomas the Tank Engine in general has been tarnished a little bit. But that, as a whole, has not discouraged me from getting back into the fandom, and my love for Thomas has grown a lot more than my embarrassment for Thomas, and I can definitely say that is true. And I'm really enjoying rediscovering my love for Thomas the Tank Engine, because it's really where it all started for me, as it is for many people. It is really where it has all started from me. I don't have any merchandise from Thomas right now, and I don't have anything left over from when I was a child either, unfortunately, as I had many siblings and they all got passed down and then eventually given away to charity or thrift shops or something like that. So I am truly, truly starting from scratch. I have no idea whether I want to become a Thomas collector or not. I have a model railway currently, and yet I have no Thomas models, and I don't already have any plans to get any Thomas models at this point in time. But I thought I would just kind of come and express my love for the fandom, express my love for the show, and thank those who have gotten me back into Thomas the Tank Engine and being able to remember my roots a little bit more as a more quote-unquote serious railway modeler. And I always think there's going to be a place for Thomas in our hearts, in the fandom, and I look forward to learning a lot more about Thomas, a lot more about the fandom, because it's truly a special place, and I hope that Season 25 isn't as bad as everyone thinks it's going to be. I mean, I know it's going to be bad. I know it is, and I'm bracing myself for it. But I hope it's going to be something that we won't be too ashamed of as Thomas fans, because we already have a lot of explaining to do when someone finds out that we like Thomas. So, as I said, I want to thank everyone, YouTubers who have gotten me back into the fandom. I want to say to everyone, stay strong. We are in the dark times. If Thomas dies, then Thomas dies, and he will live on through our childish love of the models and of the trains. And yeah, I hope everyone has a lovely time in the fandom. It's definitely one of the most welcoming fandoms that I've ever been part of. So, thank you everyone, and I'll see you later. Bye.